Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to give you the day 2 spoiler recap video, kind of go through every spoiler, pretty much every spoiler that's been revealed today, kind of give you my thoughts on them and just give you, again, a one-stop shop to see all the spoilers that were revealed today. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you really enjoy your stay. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Really appreciate y'all. Feel free to check out the Patreon and the Discord down below. So as I'm looking at it right now, putting it on my other screen, we pretty much have every spoiler spoiled today for the most part. We're missing like one or two, I think. But in the interest of time, I just wanted to go ahead and give the wrap up for today. Like the only ones we're missing that I see right now is from Tyler Luce, from Tyler Luce's is from the Fab Cube, and then we have Tarek Patel, I think, but I don't think he's doing his today. At least he's not on here anymore, so maybe he's doing his tomorrow. It's possible. So we pretty much have everything done today, and whatever that wasn't done today, I'll put it in tomorrow's video, so no worries. But we're going to get right into it. I'm going to start at equipment, then we're going to go to commons, rares, majestics, and legendaries. So first set of equipment that we had dropped today, which I'm actually super excited about, is the Cogworks base equipment that you can have to start or be able to put in later. When this is most of these all have a once per turn instant that involves having a steam counter on them. So if you can find ways to put steam counters on them, they can have multiple instances, but they all basically have one-time effects for the most part. The head says when this is equipped, put a steam counter on it. Once per turn instant, remove a steam counter from this, shuffle a mechanologist attack action card from your banish zone into your deck, activate this ability only if you have boosted this turn, so cool way to get cards back in deck. The chess piece, again, once per turn instant, that allows you to gain 2 resources, so essentially it's a one-time Tekla Foundry Heart. The arms say pay 1, remove a steam counter, your next mechanologist attack this turn gets +1, and then the legs say remove a steam counter, pay 1, remove steam counter, gain 1 action point, activate this ability only if you have boosted this turn. So all these have to do with having to boost first. A couple things. One, the easiest thing is these are great commoner equipment. Like this is awesome for people to have. If you don't have a Tekla Foundry Heart, you can have the Cogworks base chest if you so wish to be able to get 2 resources, which is pretty cool. Yes, you can use Heart and Cross Trap and other stuff, but in limited format and in commoner, like this is really cool. Really excited about this. The headpiece is really good for recursion, right? I think these are going to be like limited staples if you can get them, but also they're just good in general. The one playable one in here, the most playable in my opinion, is Cogworks base legs. I actually like this over Achilles Accelerator, or at least I'm going to try it initially and see how it feels, because like I'm building Max right now, and the problem with Achilles Accelerator is you can't, if you're on mech it in any way, shape, or form, you can't pop Achilles Accelerator because you need your base level, right, in order to put it back. Unless you run Achilles Accelerator, pop it, then you play a Fabricate to put in one of these, or put in a base Evo, right, that's in your inventory or whatever it would be. Like you could do that, but it's just a little clunky. I do like the fact that the base legs can do what Achilles Accelerator does, but they don't pop, right? So you're able to get that ability without having to sacrifice being able to mech. Yes, you can't block with it on a T-Bone, and it doesn't have Arcane Barrier 1, but personally, once Icelander goes, I'm just going to run AB2 with Visotronic headpiece anyway and just call it a day. So unless something crazy goes like that, that's basically what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to really try that out. But overall, these are really fun and cool, and more powerful base level equipment also that has applicability with Tekla and a couple other ones, I think. So it'll be really interesting to see where those go. At the common level, first one we have is Gas Up. Your next, why is that so big? Your next attack you boost this turn gets +4. You may put a Hyperdriver from your banish zone into the arena, go again. It is a 2 block and it costs 1, but I think at red specifically, these are going to be a pretty big staple. Most max lists, in my estimation, are going to have red Hyperdrivers in the list, so if you boost them away, if you're not running the helmet piece that eats them up, being able to go get one back from your banish zone as well as give something +4, like 1 for 4 is on rate for a pump. If it was block 3, it'd be absolutely tremendous, but the block 2 makes sense because it's doing a lot of different things. I think it's definitely a common or a staple at red. Next one we have is Hadron Collider. It has crank, which means as it enters the arena, you can put a steam counter on it to gain an action point. This enters the arena with 4 steam counters. If you crank it, it's 3. At the start of your turn, destroy this unless you remove a steam counter from it. So this lasts for 4 turns if you want it, or 3 turns before you have to use its ability. When you boost an attack, destroy this. If you do, the attack gets plus X, where X is the number of steam counters on this. So really, this is an interesting card because let's just say you play at the end of turn and you don't crank it. So at the start of your next turn, you're going to lose a steam counter anyway. So it's going to go to 3. And then the first card you boost will get plus 3, and then it pops completely. I really actually wish they would have said, this starts with 4 steam counters, and then every time you use it, it goes down a counter, because that would have made sense. You get a plus 3 one turn, a plus 2 another turn, and a plus 1 the next turn. Maybe make it like a 2 cost, and then you got like value over turns. But because of this is basically just like a bad pump that doesn't block and doesn't have go again, right? It has go again when you pop it, but it doesn't have go again when you play it unless you crank it. So, like, I don't know. I don't think this card's it, at least initially. We'll see how it fits. Maybe it has a different thing. Maybe with Dash, it's a little bit better because she can instant speed play this and doesn't have to crank it and then gives a plus 3 of something else. It all depends. But initially, I don't think this is as powerful an item as others. Then you have Quick Fire. This costs 1 less to play for each hyperdriver you control. So if you control 2 hyperdrivers, this is a 0 for 4 pump. If you control 1, which you pretty much always will with Max, it's a 1 for 4 pump with Go Again. Not bad. I don't think this is going to be a staple by any means, but it's definitely a really good limited card. That's my initial estimation. I don't think that it's a bad pump. I just think the pumps there are mainly going to be played in Max. Like right now, the pumps that I think you play this in Max, right, more than anything else. And the pumps that I have in Max are Gas Up, Recharge, and maybe BIOS Update, but really just Gas Up and Recharge. So I don't think this quite makes the list, not because it's bad, but because other pumps are just kind of better. But it's a good solid card if you have 2 hyperdrivers on the field. 0 for 4 is above rate. Recharge, this card, again, I think is a staple at red, specifically in any deck that's like focusing on hyperdrivers. Again, typically Max, but I think focusing on hyperdrivers. Put a steam counter on a hyperdriver you control. The next attack you boost this turn gets plus 4. Go again. So way to keep hyperdrivers on the field while also pumping your cards at a 1 cost, I think is fantastic. Then we have Rev Up. So I want to just geek on the artwork a little bit. The artwork on this card is amazing. I love the artwork on this card. It's so sick. When I saw this in like their reveal video, I was like, man, I can't wait to see what card that is. But if you control a hyperdriver, this costs 1 less to play, so it's a 2 for 6 with boost. For playability, this is another popper, right? And I think that's the best way you look at this card, because this card's really just a bad throttle, or like not a bad throttle. It's basically throttle, right? But it's a conditional throttle, because if you don't have a hyperdriver for whatever reason, this is a 3 for 6. If you do have a hyperdriver, even if you have 3 hyperdrivers, it's still a 2 for 6, which at that point, why not just play throttle? Maybe you have this in the sideboard to have a couple more poppers against Drumeye and Illusionists in general. But other than that, I don't know if it sees a lot of play in the main board, but it is really, really cool. I want to play it just because the artwork is so sick. I think I actually had it in my main board initially just because the artwork was so sick. If this would have said if you control a hyperdriver, this gets 1 less to play. If you control 2, it gets 2 less to play, essentially maybe making it a 1 for 6 to have a slightly above rate card. Again, I think that would have been too powerful, but it would have been kind of cool. But because of it just basically being throttle with text, it doesn't make as much sense. And then that's all the commons. And then we have rares. I think we only had 2 rares. We have Smash and Grab. If you've boosted 2 or more times this turn, this gets plus 2, and when it hits a hero, gain a control of an item they control. If Mech starts being insanely popular, right, in a share the metagame, this would be a great sideboard card. But it does cost 3, which is a lot. So it's basically a 3 for 7, potentially, right? But it's also a 3 for 5. So it might not be that good, but even in limited, this might be pretty decent when you do like your pre-release and stuff. So definitely keep an eye out for this card. Next one is Springer Leak. It's a boost card. When this hits a hero, remove all steam counters from an equipment, item, or weapon they control. It's a 2 for 5. This is really good sideboard tech, I think, into any mechanologist, right, in the mirror. Being able to take something off of their stuff is really powerful. Completely eliminating a hyperdriver for Max, or completely taking off anything with steam counters on Dash might be really, really useful. So really cool for that one. And that's all the rares. Then we have the Majestics, which is a decent amount. So first Majestic is Max the Height Nitro. So right, Max was revealed as adult version. I see what they're doing with Majestics. it's like a good and a bad. There's goods and bads to both, right? Some people are saying negative things because Max is in the Majestic slot, and people don't like fact that heroes are in the Majestic slot because there's a chance you could open a box and literally technically not be able to play your hero. And that does feel really bad. My personal take on it is I do see why you don't want this to be in the token slot, because then you open a box and you get 10 maxes and you're like, this is kind of stupid. Like, it's kind of a waste of a card slot. Personally, what I wish they would do is make these box toppers. You know, maybe make them box toppers so like you're guaranteed to get, you know, maybe in every box you get a box topper of each hero. I think that might be a cool idea. It would entice people to buy boxes, things of that nature. I don't know. I don't know the best solution. I can say, though, like, if you got super unlucky, it would feel really bad to buy, like, a case of product and you just happen not to pull a max. And so, like, you just bought $300 worth of product and you still can't play Adult Max. That feels really bad. So, I don't know what the solution is, which sucks, but I can't see why people are upset. Regardless, this is in the Majestic slot. This is not a Majestic, but I wanted to put Banksy right beside it just because it's a signature weapon. Once per turn action, pay 1 attack, 1 for 3. If this ability only uses ability if you crank this turn. When this hits a hero, put a Steam counter on an item you control with crank. So you can put a counter back on one of your hyperdrivers, which is really, really nice. This card's really cool, and it's not 100% confirmed, but I did have my buddy Morty say that this was potentially, or it was named after Banksy, who's like a really world-renowned street artist, which is really cool. So that's a really, really neat aspect of that. Next one is Hyper Scrapper, probably my favorite blue revealed so far. As an additional cost to play this, banish X items from your graveyard. When this attacks, it gets plus X. If 3 or more hyperdrivers were banished to play this, this gains 6 resources and gets go again. So there's a play line I've already thought of with this card. It's a 4-card hand. If you have this card, another blue, a 0 cost. It doesn't even have to be 0 cost, but it can be. 0 cost. Actually, it needs to be 0 cost technically. No, it doesn't, because hyperdriver is going to trigger. Let's just say 0 cost, a 0 to 60, a blue, this, and Moonshot. You're able to, let's say you have two hyperdrivers on the field that aren't going to pop after the first boost. They both have two counters on them. You play your 0 for 60, boost it, you gain 2 resources from your hyperdrivers. Then you pitch your blue, because you need 1 more resource, to banish 3 hyperdrivers from your graveyard, giving this plus 3 and go again. So you still have 2 floating, and you're playing a 3 for 5 go again, right? Essentially. So you've dealt 8 damage. Then with your the 6 resources that you just gained plus the 2 resources left over, you can pitch into 6 to play Moonshot and give it 9, right? So you basically can deal on a 4-card hand what? A 0-60 is 4, this is 5, and Moonshot might be 9. You're dealing 18 damage on a 4-card hand. Potentially more if you have 3 hyperdrivers on the field. Moonshot would be 12. This has really cool late game, I think, applicability. Like being able to chain this into a Moonshot, whatever your line is, being able to chain this into a Moonshot or chain this into like 1 or 2 more attacks into a max V. This is really cool, right? Like, obviously, you don't have to boost. If you're not playing Moonshot, you don't have to boost prior to this. Like, even not into a Moonshot, but let's say you just want to have resources for the rest of your turn. You play this, and if you can banish 3 hyperdrivers, you gain 6 resources. This gets go again. Then you just have all the resources you need for the rest of your turn. This is just a really cool blue. It's a 3-block. I think it's auto-include, and especially a max. And I just love the card. Next one is Meg Magnetic. It's Magnetic Lockwave. Target hero chooses X equipment they control. Then you choose 1 from among them. That hero must defend your attacks this turn with that equipment if able. So this is really, and as go again. So it's an XXX card. So I'm assuming you have to pay 3 for them to choose 1. You have to pay 6 for them to choose 2, and you have to pay 9 for them to choose 3 equipment, which is pretty nuts. Then you get to choose 1, right? So if you pay 6 into this, target hero will choose 2 equipment they control, and then you get to pick 1 that they get to defend with. Really cool card. I think it's definitely in a slower build, but with a lot of blues, I think this is actually pretty good in Teklevossen to be able to disrupt people, but we'll see. I don't know how playable this card is yet. Depends how many blue. You have to have a lot of blues, like pitching 2 blues into this just to basically have like not even a good tonal tie, but basically like a conditional tonal tie. I don't know. I don't know if it's playable yet, but the card's really cool regardless, right? Then you have Moonshot. This card's just nuts. Play this only if you have boosted this turn. As an additional cost to play this, destroy X hyperdrivers you control. So this is where I got hung up on my line before, because if you have a Moonshot after Scrapper, that means you've had to play a boost card, because you can't play Moonshot if you haven't played a boost card. But being able to play this, the way I thought about it is most of the time with Max, you're going to have 2 hyperdrivers on the field by turn 3. By turn 3, you're going to have this cycle of constantly having 2 hyperdrivers on the field. So in my eyes, after turn 3, most of the time you play Moonshot, it's going to be a 3 for 9. Potentially a 3 for, or not a 3 for 9, but what? 6 for 9? A 6, or yeah, no, 4 for 9. Gosh, I can't do anything. It's like Sonata. So you pay 4 into this in order to destroy 2 hyperdrivers, right? So it's basically like a 4 for 9 or 6 for 12, depending on how you do things, which is pretty nuts. I think Max is going to use this at Max V, maximum velocity, to really like close games out and have constant good chain enders. And I'm super excited to mess with this card. All these XXs just mess with my brain, so sorry if I'm a little scatterbrained with those. Next one is System Failure. It's a 1-cost Mechanologist action. Remove all steam counters from target equipment, item, or weapon. If 2 or more steam counters are removed this way, deal 2 damage to its controller. Really interesting. This could possibly be a late game finisher. It's like almost like a reckless swing. Like you play this right on your turn and you just kill them if they're at 2 life. That could be really, really interesting if they don't have a way to prevent it. I don't know how playable this card is. Maybe it's played in like a really slow Mechanologist, like a really control one, whether it's Dash or Teklevasen. But it's a really cool one. The only thing is it really only works against Mechanologists for the most part, right? So, but it's an interesting tech, interesting card. I wish it was a 3-block. If it was a 3-block, it would make a lot more sense. Being a 2-block, though, seems a little interesting to me, because it seems like it would be in a slow deck, not in a fast deck, and slow decks really don't want 2 blocks. But let's see. Then you have Tick-Tock Clock. This has a mountain of text on it. Crank. As it enters the arena, you may remove a steam counter from it to gain an action point. This enters the arena with a steam counter. At the start of your turn, destroy this and deal 1 damage to you unless you remove a steam counter. When a Mechanologist attack action card you control hits a hero, destroy this and up to 2 other items in the arena, then deal X damage to them, where X is the number of items destroyed this way. So this is really interesting, like in the mirror maybe, with like Dash, if you both have, like especially Dash IO, if you both have like 7 or 8 items, right? Like being able to have a attack hit and just say, okay, I'm going to destroy this and 2 other items, right? Maybe 2 of their items, and you deal 2 damage to them, along with destroying 2 of their items is pretty cool. Maybe you have one of these in the sideboard, just one, to be able to, do that. But even so, like all they got to do is block you out. It's really interesting. The artwork is sick, though. I love the artwork. Then, yeah, that is the Majestics. And then we have the Legendaries. We had 2, I believe, that were shown. One is Hyper X3. This one's cool. It's honestly my favorite card in the set from a thematic standpoint, but it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays. Whenever you banish a hyperdriver from boosting, put it under this. Once per turn, when a hyperdriver is put under this, if there are 3 or more hyperdrivers under it, draw a card. It has Battle Worn 1. So really, really cool card. I think it's going to be really good in the mech archetype, whatever hero you're playing, because if you can just play a good boost game plan and then eventually activate mech, and maybe you had 3 on the field, 3 under this, then all of a sudden your mechanoid gets 3 extra charges, which is really cool. But it's going to be interesting to see how consistent that is. Regardless, it's a Battle Worn 1 headpiece that with upside for mech, so just helps with their fridge a little bit more. So that one, there's that one. And then finally we have Adaptive Plating. I still don't know when this card's going to be used. I know it's good. It's a legendary. There's got to be use case for it. Please let me know in the comments down below how you would use this card, because I'm a little stooped. It's modular, which means this can be equipped into any equipment zone. It has the same subtype of the zone that it's equipped to. Action, equip this to another equipment zone. Doesn't cost anything, but it also doesn't have go again. Galvanize. When this defends, you may destroy an item you control. If you do, this gets +2 till the end of turn and has Blade Break. So it normally defends for 1. If you destroy an item and you defend with this, it defends for 3. My initial thought with this is maybe it goes in like a Teklevasen in one of your slots to start the game to give you this like a free block 3 for the item you really don't care about. And then you then use something like Fabricate to then put in a base back into the slot. So you basically just start with an extra block 3 in your deck, but you have to get rid of an item to do that. So I don't know how good this is, but it's a legendary. It's got to be decent. Like, it's got to be decent. Maybe even in Dash, this works a lot better, right? Because she's going to be Dash IO, because she's going to be putting out so many items. Maybe it, you're okay with getting rid of one item that's about to pop anyway and be able to block 3 with this and then bring in something else, right? So we'll have to see. It's definitely legendary, definitely cool. So regardless, it's going to be fun to see how this goes. But sorry, I'm getting a little choked up. But yeah, that was all the stuff I had so far. There's a lot of stuff. I am new to mech, so a lot of this stuff I'm having to like process and learn on my own. So I'm sorry if I'm a little bit off with some of these cards and their use cases. Definitely let me know down below in the comments what you would like to see and like what you've seen from this set and what's cool to you. Interactions I'm not seeing, maybe interactions I'm not quite getting right. I'd love to hear the community feedback on this, because I know I have a couple mech players that follow me that are really good. 2 particular ones with Tim, Playtime TCG, and Ordell, who are both, mech stands, so to speak. So definitely let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on the set. Super excited to keep it going, and I can't wait to show you all day 3 of spoilers. So yeah, hopefully you're enjoying the weekend. Stay safe. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to. If not, it's totally fine. Go to our Fleshbug creator in the spoiler list from one of my previous videos. Like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game, more people continue to make content on this game, and keep it going. But thank you all so much. Y'all have a good one, and I'll see you all next time on TCG Talk.